Has. We are seeing. They come in. ISH. Dear friends, we are all of us heading towards a very special, the most important, the most special thing in our lives. The morning lesson. We all received an awakening from above, from the Creator. He woke us up so that we can come here to the less end and all over the world to connect with the other parts of our soul and to build from us a connection to the Creator, clothed by the writings of the sages, the righteous, guiding us towards prayer. Today we mark the day of the departure of our teacher, Abash, so let's allow him to guide us through this lesson. Corporality. We feel turns out one who talks about concealment within. Concealment, that's already a degree. It's the first degree that a person begins to attain, that he exists. Within concealment, that's already a degree. When a person attains that his body doesn't want to work in spirituality, that is already a degree. What degree? He attained the good loot of his body, that he has some evil. 3 things here. 1 state, first state, he doesn't think of that, that's the whole world. 2, he starts thinking. He saw in books that there's a matter of spirituality, a matter of bestow. I told my body, you know that you need to bestow. I don't want that. So he began to feel his body that it doesn't want it. What doesn't it want in order to bestow? If so, what is the first prayer? That I will have a desire, that I will have a desire to bestow. 3, that he wants to bestow, but he can't. So then what does he want? Not to have a desire, but to have the ability to take it from potential to actual. And then there is already a first concealment, a single concealment. The one concealment has already passed, meaning he already has a desire. What does he want now? Revelation. What's the revelation? That I will have the ability to bring from potential to actual only in order to bestow, not for self-benefit. It turns out the first degree, that never interests him. Second, when he feels concealment within concealment, he feel there's already something begins to attain, something that's already a degree. He just sees that his body doesn't want it. Then what? Then he needs to pray to have a desire that the body will want to bestow. 3, he already has a desire to bestow. In potential, yes, in practicality, he doesn't have the power to implement it. So what does he ask? The second prayer, to have the ability to carry it out. And this is called one who comes to purify. He already comes. He already wants, but he just can't. Then he's being assisted. Assisted how? The somewhat revelation that concealment passes to. He comes to revelation, and then the body surrenders. That's what I said before. Unique privilege we have to hear the words of this great teacher, and across history, Kabbalists have tried to convey the meaning, the purpose of life for humanity. And then came that great righteous Manash and opened up to us. He had this permission to show to us, to explain to us what our soul yearns for, cries for. We read an excerpt from Abash. Now, we will begin this lesson today, marking the day of his departure, and receive everything he wishes to give us. I know the main thing is the most important thing is prayer. That is, one must pray to the Creator to help him go above reason, meaning that the work should be with gladness, as though he has already been rewarded with the reason of, and what joy would he feel then? Likewise, he should ask the Creator to give him this power so he can go above the reason of the body. In other words, although the body does not agree to this work in order to bestow, he asks the Creator to be able to work with gladness, as is suitable for one who serves a great king. He does not ask the Creator to show the greatness of the Creator, and then he will work gladly. Rather, he wants the Creator to give him joy in the work of above reason, that it will be as important to a person as if he already has reason. Let's enter the lesson with a request that the Creator will give us joy in the work of above reason. Again, silent workshop. Let's enter the lesson with a request that the Creator will give us joy in the work of above reason. Silent workshop. Dear friends, in the first part of the lesson, we will watch a recorded lesson from September 12th, 2021, selected excerpts for Abash's Memorial Day. Excerpt about the Memorial Day of the Rarish Yes, we are in a special day. Today, we commemorate the departure of the Rash, the day of the departure of Rash. We're gonna have a meal today about it, for the time being, and we'll read the excerpts that we selected to commemorate that date. What am I trying to say? In a sense, what happened before us? There were many people, thousands, millions of people who wanted to become Kabbalists, and all of this is now on us. The onus is in us, and we need to try to bring ourselves to the form of the last generation, which is the form of many people, hundreds and thousands. There may be more, although I don't believe there will be much more, because after all, this path is not for everyone, because we are as a small group of people who yearn for it, and after us there will be many others. But it's not like they need the same actions as us, so don't make any calculations that we need to have greater and greater numbers. No, maybe another 1,000, 2,000, it's a few thousands more, but I don't think it'll be more than that. The more special is this work, the fear, the people who can actually engage in it, let alone the wisdom of Kabbalah that truly depends on the point in the heart. No one here came by himself, but rather he felt an urge from within, and accordingly he suddenly found by chance some contact with us, came connected, and according to the reforming light that will influence us, it turns out that we are going through a variety of personal and general processes, and there are those here who are already several dozens of years in the process, and we are finally starting to enter the first spiritual degree, and they're all called faith above reason. But for us, this is the first degree, our first acquaintance with the quality of bestow, with all the forces, with all the possibilities that we're in. So it's a new thing for us, also for humanity. Accordingly, our state is very new, because all of us are part of the last generation, and we're starting to feel ourselves so interdependent, and both in the good and in the bad, through terror and warmongering groups, and our desire for connection. So it turns out that, in general, we're all part of one humanity. It's becoming increasingly clear to us that we're interconnected, for the time being, through unpleasant acts, unpleasant phenomena, like this pandemic, and so on. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, we're advancing because we see that the connection between us is coming from above, necessary connection, and it is pushing us forward. And these two great Kabbalists, father and son, Balaam and Rabash his eldest son, and they really organized for us the method of the last generation. That's why we are very grateful to them, and to the Creator who arranged such teachers for us. And let's see what they write both and on these times, and the actions that they took. We will be reading selected excerpts. These excerpts are about this is excerpt number 1 from I received your letter, and I congratulate you for this mecharebitical ordination you have obtained. This is the first wall that barred you from going forward. I hope that from this day forward you will begin to succeed and go from strength to strength until you come into the King's Palace. I would like you to get another, but from now on hurry yourself, and spend the bulk of your time preparing your body to muster strength and courage as an ox to the burden and as a donkey to the load. Do not lose a minute, for the way is long, and supplies are scarce. And should you say, where is this preparation? I will tell you as I heard. For in the Adam of kin, in earlier times one had to first obtain all 7 external teachings called the 7 maidens that serve the king's daughter, as well as terrible mortification, and yet not many gained favour in the eyes of the Creator. But since we have been rewarded with the teaching of the and the workways of the Baltov, it is truly possible for anyone, and the above preparations are no longer necessary. If you step in those 2, which by the Creator's grace I have been favoured by him and have received them firmly, and my view is as close to you as the closeness of the father to his son, I will certainly pass them on to you when you are ready to receive from mouth to mouth. Well, it's a personal letter from Balaam to Rash when he received his ordination. It's a diploma basically allowing you to be a teacher. That's how Rabash was advancing. If you have no questions, we'll advance as well. Next part, next excerpt. This is a group who have gathered in a certain place under a certain leader to be together with superhuman courage. They face up to all those who rise up against them. Indeed, they are brave men with a strong spirit, and they are determined not to retreat 1 inch. They are first-class fighters, fighting the war against their inclination to their last drop of blood, and their only wish is to win the battle for the glory of his name. That's what Rabash is writing. If such people gather, they have one common goal, and they understand that attaining the goal is the most important thing, compared to all the calculations that exist between them, and they know all those calculations for the sake of connection to attain the goal. This, indeed, is the correct group. This is a group of people who together can attain this exalted goal. Still here in this world. PD 3. The matter of annulment towards the teacher is very strong in our path. And here we hear that Rabash had also a kind of work that's unclear how it can be done, which is also an element towards his a father. So how do you come to such a level of devotion where you can relate to a father like a teacher, as well and complete annulment? How do these things happen? The Creator arranges each and everyone according to special relationships between him and his friends, him and his teacher, him and himself even, so that a person, if he listens, if he accepts what the teacher is sending him, what the Creator is sending him, I'm sorry, certain all those means, then he can accept them, he can take them correctly and protect himself and relate with respect and love and the correct connection to the friends and to the Creator. Now when we read in the book about the Rabash, and also every time you talk about the Rabash, there's this appreciation that is beyond any imagination, and it always feels like we're lacking something of that appreciation towards the teacher more and more, like you had towards Rabash, or Rabash towards Barasim, and so on. How can we come closer to that? I don't know what to say. This has to do with getting to know the importance, the feeling that sometimes a person is thrown out back into his ego, and other times they do let him feel the special state he's in, and then which opportunities he are so unique, you cannot convey it, you cannot pass it from one to another. Rather, as much as a person understands what was given to him, he needs to use it, and nevertheless to invest in his preparation towards the friends, towards the teacher, towards the Creator. This will always help him reach spirituality. This matter that you can't communicate from one to the other. It's also something you can see. Some friends have the greatness of the path, and the rush and the raven, and you always try to cling to them, but it feels like it's never enough. It's never not enough passes from this thing, this resource called greatness of the RAF. So what's the advice here? The advice is, as writes, that we have to talk about the greatness of the friends, greatness of the teacher, greatness of the Creator. And so by sitting and talking and scrutinizing these things, because without increasing the importance of these means you can't achieve the first spiritual degree, much less climbing later. In each degree we have to obtain a relation of respect, appreciation of the friends, of the teacher and of the Creator, more and more. Without it, there is no power to advance. Without it, a person doesn't understand, but basically he wants to promote himself, and spiritual progress is to the extent that he promotes them and himself leaves lower and lower down. And this is the spiritual advancement. Otherwise he'll be promoting himself egoistically, opposite from the truth. We will talk about it. It's not simple. It depends on a person's subtlety of the soul. Okay, thank you. About the introduction you gave. What in the current state of humanity brings us to the new degree, to the extent that the group is great and the teacher and the Creator in the eyes of a person, to that extent he comes closer to the power of bestow and enter his faith, the entrance into faith that depends on the state of humanity, or the greatness of the love in society. In our eyes, of course, the most important is the greatness of the group and the teacher and the Creator and humanity. For now, we don't really relate ourselves to them. It will come first. We have to feel ourselves established correctly, in relation to them, positioned correctly, in relation to them. PG-31. He's describing a state of those walking the path of the Creator that are brave and determined, and they won't move back. Those qualities are qualities that the light develops in us as a result of efforts towards the friends, or do we have to develop it on our own? Here, there are seemingly many sources of influence on a person. You're asking, where is there one principle here that, if I take care of that, everything falls into place? The principle is follow the principle, that is the Torah, and the Creator are one. When a person tries to incorporate in the 10, and he arranges the 10 so it will be a support their divinity for the revelation of their Creator in it. Go on. Number 3. If the love teaches the disciples the work that must be done in order to bestow meaning why a person comes into this world, to do God's mission, to work for the sake of the Creator, that person is a messenger of the Creator, and not a landlord in this world, but is a servant of the Creator. The meaning of messenger of the Creator is angel of the Creator. This is the meaning of if the love is similar to an angel of the Creator, let them seek to learn from him. No, Queens. We'll see. Let's see. Queens. Good evening, friends. The fact that is a passage between you, I'm sure it's not a coincidence. And the word higher, or from the place I came through, means a teacher. And in Hebrew I heard that it means an ascent. So when you connect teacher and an ascent, it seems like your character can you, with great patience, answer the endless questions. You do so many shows and dissemination, so I wanted to thank you and the Creator for bringing you to have a long life. Thank you very much. But it's really not me, it's how I am directed from above. So everything that is good, say thank you to the Creator. Everything that's bad, you can tell me. What does it mean? Ataman is the angel of the Creator. Basically, in this world we need to work as messengers of the Creator. Messengers. We continue that same desire from above, which the Creator wants to bring to humanity. We have to extend it. Extend that, continue that way, that intention, that desire, and bring it to humanity, because there is no connection between the humanity and the Creator in such a way that humanity can feel Him. Rather, we have to create that relation. So we will be in both the spiritual degree and faith above reason, and on the degree of reason knowledge, because we are the conduit between the Creator, the force of liking connected to Malat, to all of humanity. And in this way we can convey all the forces and discernments and all to all of humanity, and accordingly humanity will get closer and connect to us, and it will also rise along with us as a supporting part of the spiritual degree. And this is how we will advance. Our part is called straight to the Creator. It's a small part, it's a weak part, because all the will to receive is in Mal, and we are in a part that belongs to Biner, and therefore we have no power. All our powers are through humanity that connect to us, and along with it we find the strength to rise higher up. All we have is the direction to constantly locate it and try as much as possible to direct our steps towards the Creator. But the power to do it we can get when we connect to humanity. On the one hand, this will be heaviness, but to ask for the strength for it to raise this heaviness up, we will have to ask for them from the Creator, and then we become as a medium between humanity and the Creator. And in this way we and humanity together, as Garter and I, will unite. There's a feeling that these moments that we're with you are the most important moments, the most determining moments in our life. And though you have a special calculation towards us and the group on behalf of the Creator, how can we use this time by every friend in the group to really realize that's what we're reading about. We have to connect in the 10, and then according to the equivalence of form we'll be close to the Creator, and then the Creator will dress in us and will lead us to the purpose of correction. That's the way. There's none other. Moscow 7. In order to find the Torah from the mouth of the teacher, for this we need to carry out what they write for us. We don't know what is written. It's like children. How do they know exactly what their parents mean when they tell them to do this or that? But if they do, if we do exactly what is written as much as we can, then by doing it we will understand the intention of those great Kabbalists who write for us, and that way we will know them through us. Number 4. Oh wait, we've got Baris. From this excerpt, what's the difference between the messenger of the Creator and the worker of the Creator. These are 2 degrees. One degree is a servant or a slave, and the other degree is to be a messenger of the Creator. There are many states of a person toward the Creator, so those 2 states are very important. We have to try to be in both. It is written about Moses that he was a servant of the Creator, and besides he was certainly a messenger of the Creator. And more we will learn about more such rules. Go on, for we have gathered here to establish a society for all who wish to follow the path and method of, by the way by which to climb the degrees of man and not to remain as a beast. That's exactly what we need to understand. I remember that situation when I was taking a walk with him in the park, and I asked him what should I tell them to the people who were gathering, because I brought them from a different place, from Berg's Youth Centre. So he said, well, I'll write it down for you. I gave him this piece of paper from a cigarette packet, because I had nothing. I had no other paper, and then he wrote it. We have gathered here to establish a society for all who wish to follow the path of, which is the way by which to climb up the degrees of man and not remain as a beast on the level of a beast. Rising from the level of a beast to the level of man is possible only through a special method, and this is what we received. What we are receiving, especially now that we are learning about faith above reason, which is really the entry into the ascent, really, the ascent itself. This is why there are those for whom it is very far, those for whom it is already somehow clear, but it doesn't matter. It comes and goes throughout the degrees. It is written about it 1,000 times. Shall a righteous fall and rise? And this is how we'll advance. The important thing is not to quit and continue methodically, and the Creator arranges for us the environment, the world, humanity, everything around us. So we will have no choice, and we'll have to constantly think about the spiritual advancement and also how to drag along all of humanity, maybe in a sentence or an explanation. What is the method of that means? I would say that the most important principle is faith above reason. Learn from mouth to ear until it is from mouth to mouth. We're still not talking about it. It's still ahead of us. That's something developed. Look, there's nothing new under the sun. That's clear. These are not such revelations but it wasn't that known, detailed, clear to cannibalists before them. They understood it, felt it, more in a more detailed way, clearer, so as to bring it to popular usage. And before them it wasn't like that, and Rash took Balaam's method and expanded it. Yes, he detailed it. He elaborated on it. He wrote all his articles. Look what he did. He basically took the whole spiritual path that a person undergoes and interpreted it, wrote about it. It's all like one long novel that talks about man's development from a state as, he writes here in this sentence, to not remain as a beast, and how to rise to the degrees of man. And this is what he creates for us, explained to us in all his articles. He really felt that he was committed, obligated to do. Wait, is there an addition that put in the articles, or he just took what he got from? No, of course he added a lot of his own. Other are articles of. The way he wrote about each of them is the way he attained them himself. There's still a difference between the Father and the Son. Labash attained it in a more elaborated manner because he already had many students in front of him. The students I brought him were very, very different from people who were completely disconnected from spirituality. They didn't know what it was like and what it was. They had no respect for it. They were contemptuous toward it openly. But when they started learning and returning to this matter more and more, it's not like he learned on them, but he still absorbed from them much of the contemporary perspective on religion and the wisdom of Kabbalah, which he didn't know that well before. And he wrote his articles based on that. This is why he, on the one hand, it is so accessible to everyone, and on the other hand they are very deep, very, very deep. We don't understand what he concealed in his writing. The more we rise on the ladder of degrees until the end of correction, we will see what that person did for us, how he wrote about the whole path in a very special way in all his articles. Such state that basically he wrote about the super top degrees. Let's continue. Number 5. I look at a tiny dot called love of others, and I think about it. What can I do in order to benefit people? As I look at the general public, I see the suffering of individuals' illnesses and pains, and sufferings of individuals inflicted by the collective, meaning wars among nations, and besides prayer there's nothing to give. This is called he who aches because of the affliction of the public, medial. Yes, from here we see how he was incorporated in all of humanity, and how much he wanted to alleviate their suffering. On the one hand, on the other hand, there's no choice but to go through these things. On the one hand, but it's clear to those who look at them, it's like a family. If a baby is sick, the parents suffer much more than the baby. So the same goes for this is how it happens. This is how he relates to humanity. He looks at this one dot called love of others, and through which he discovers all of the human suffering. It just shows they present the perspective of a capitalist on everything that happens. There are no questions, then go on. Oh, wait, we have Brazil too. Ah yes, Raf. Ah, you know, we hear what Rabish wrote, and I hear the year commentary about his experience going through this process and truly doing this for the nation. How can we maintain such states? Because if he wrote it and he went through these states, these are really things that he went through his flesh and his desire, and yet he came to thought as a given afterwards. How can we maintain this relationship with the other with so much struggle in between the two, in between the states? The more we rise on the latter and incorporate within us both the power of being and the power of, and we can be between the two, incorporated and including the qualities of the creator and the qualities of the created being, and accordingly we are capable of including within us, not like little kids who either laugh or cry. They have these jumps. Here it's the opposite. We can absorb these things and tolerate them and suffer, and at the same time justify the creator about everything that happens. Number 6. Once I've acquired the clothing of love, sparks of love promptly begin to shine within me. The heart begins to long to unite with my friends, and it seems to me that my eyes see my friends, my ears hear their voices, my mouth speaks to them, the hands embrace, the feet dance in a circle in love and joy together with them, and I transcend my corporeal boundaries. I forget the vast distance between my friends and me, and the outstretched land for many miles will not stand between us. It is, as though my friends are standing right within my heart and see all that is happening there, and I become ashamed of my petty acts against my friends. Then I simply exit the corporeal vessels, and it seems to me that there's no reality in the world except for my friends and I. After that, even the I is cancelled and immersed, mingled in my friends, until I stand and declare that there is no reality in the world, only the friends. No, really, you do what? Well, these words are well known. That's the main thing that he writes to his group. This is what he felt. You tell us that there were like 6 friends with him that were all very old, and here it sounds like they're hugging and dancing, and how does he reach these feelings with that group? It's not clear, and that's how he felt. What does he do that he reaches such feelings that he writes in his letters and articles? When he opens his heart, that's why he feels this way. He does it different than what we do in workshops between us. What's the difference? Well, look, it depends on the subtlety of the soul, depends on how much he attains forces of reception and bestowal, one opposite the other. So in the gamut between bestowal and reception, he got possibility to feel every person and all of creation in general. He expands his tools of perception. He calibrates himself according to the range between reception and bestow, between reason and faith above reason, and that's what allows him to feel so expansively. So you really need to make efforts to live in that connection in order to reach these discernments. Yes, you have to exert to feel the connection and the differences between the discernments. Basically, according to this, we measure a person not the way, not like children. He cries and then he laughs and then he cries and then he laughs. For him, for the child, there's a short distance between the two, a great person, as great vessels. Another thing I wanted to ask when started studying at Balsam. He didn't have that group that you came, so how did he get all this knowledge from Balsam and the spiritual feelings? How did it work between them? First of all, he learned with Balsam, even though Bissam didn't want him to learn because Balsam kept everyone away until they were married. He wouldn't let them study until they were married because, according to the root and branch A, bachelor is forbidden to study an unmarried person. Afterwards, we went into the last generation and then everyone is obligated to learn. So, anyone who wants to, of course not by force, not by coercion, but wouldn't let Rabash come into his lessons until he was married, until he was 18. He wouldn't let him sit in a lesson. Although Barbara said, well, of course, I would give him coffee. I would do something. So, I was kind of around them all the time. But I wasn't sitting and studying and asking questions like a student. After he got married, the next day, he was permitted to come into lessons. Would usually start learning at 1:00 a.m. He himself would get up at 12 midnight, and that's when he began his day at midnight. Midnight at half of the night. That's it. So, he would come to study after that all the time. For us, today it's not important. Today, we're in a different time, a different situation. We shouldn't take examples from there. Today it is the last generation when everyone has to study. Men, women, children, grown-ups. It's for everyone. Only those who want to. German free. German 3. Text. There's a great depth in there. Is there a certain degree to each article, or it's part of one whole? Why do we need so many excerpts? If all the stages can be in one letter. Look what we are learning according to our lessons. It's not like it was written somewhere. Rather, we learned with, say, half the lesson an article that he wrote at that same week, and during the other half the study of the tense. That's how the lessons were divided, and we would study the oracle, complete the way he wrote it. Today, if we study an article in this way, I think everyone will fall asleep after half an hour, not after an hour and a half until we finish it. So, we have no choice. I'm afraid that people will not feel substantial changes in every lesson that they're making some progress because we're spoiled. Our patience is not great, and therefore we study from excerpts. But in these excerpts there is the extract, the essence of these great essays of. This is why I established this method. In this way, you want to learn according to articles. We will get to them soon, but there's a lot of material we need to study first. We have to build ourselves the material we're learning now is according to our situation. But just know that it wasn't like that before until no one learned according to articles. There were no articles. They would just sit and study. How do they study? Say they read the Tsar, or even more, even heavier books, or more serious books. What did we do? What did they do? They would wait patiently until the light reformed them. That's it. Until what they learned influenced them, and they received some changes, and that's how they learned for generations, centuries. But we're not in that state. We're like, either you give it to me or I quit. I'm afraid you'll quit. That's why I try to give you each day some sweet something to keep it interesting, because that's how people are built today with their egos. That's our problem. Yeah. We have to take it into consideration. Bash writes that he doesn't have anything to give to humanity except for prayer. Is he hinting about something, or does he mean something deeper than prayer, or how to pray correctly for humanity? You can't teach prayer. It has to come from the heart. The prayer is the work in the heart, and therefore, when we can only explain it, but in truth according to the direction of our hearts, where we want to connect, when we want to direct ourselves to the Creator, to approach Him, to be incorporated in Him according to all those inclinations, tendencies. Basically, we are in a prayer. A prayer is not what we say with our lips. A prayer is what we feel in our desire, in our hearts, and therefore that's the main thing. Clear. So basically, he wanted to convey the method to all of humanity. No, it's written, raise the boy in his own way, meaning you can't take the same method and come with it to everybody. There's people without points in the heart that the points in the heart isn't speaking through them, so you can't come up to them with faith above reason. They won't understand what you're talking about. They won't understand. Or either it's people that are ready for spirituality in the future, but right now their ego is so big that it won't let them see that there's such a thing as bestow. No, I remember myself, that also faith above reason. What is faith above reason? What is he trying to say? I don't know. What studying mouth to mouth? I don't know. It's things that you hear about you. You're able to hear after many years, and also we need to take that into consideration towards others. Hungarian Polish, Chalam. Thank you so much for sharing so many details about Rabash. But the last article, for me there's a lot of secret. I feel that you can't reach spirituality not without certain type of emotions. And here in Fish Pieces we just read there is a hint of how to achieve that all the reality through the friends. But I miss something here to connect all the dots to achieve what Rabash is so gently describing here. So how to get to that point where I say and I state there is no other reality than the friends. Exactly like Rabash said, we're trying to do it. We're trying. Scrutinize between you. And again, through questions, through efforts, we'll solve it. We'll get there. Still, we're advancing. And today, we feel a lot more than we thought a few months ago. PT 35. Thank you very much. You said before, that wouldn't let students come into the lesson if they weren't married. What is the meaning of a wife on the path? In our times, it's also to explain to them as much as we can too. Our lessons are open for questions and answers. We do it once a week, that there really isn't much to ask truly. When you ask, it also covers the possibilities of questions that they would have asked. Good morning world. Many aspects concerning the departure of Abash. There's no question about his contribution, immense contribution to our spiritual path. My question is different on the path we're going through with your guidance. Who was his personal disciple is this? Remembering, commemorating, does that help us build the soul of Adam because we are incorporated with his writings and his guidance through you? Of course it is, because we by this connect more and more to the method, another part in advancement toward the correction. That's why it's worth it to mention him and his method, cause we from him we are drinking, we are receiving all the spiritual forces. Whatever you do, are connected to the Creator through all the colists that came before you and paved the path for you, even though you don't know them. But for sure that's how you are connecting to the Creator, and it can be otherwise. May I continue with your permission? You're in a special situation as his disciple and as our teacher. You in fact are the only one who can be on the structure of the soul of Adamish, the personal relation through a personal acquaintance. How do you feel toward his departure? Are you sorry? Are you happy that he gave us the special abilities through that he gave you from the Creator? How do you relate to their departure of Abash? My attitude towards it, that me as all cobbleress in all generations, I have to keep the path going to teach the students, and to as much as I can make of them good teachers faithful to the advancement of all of humanity. That's it. And the more I and pass to them the essential important points in man's development, that they don't deviate to all kinds of directions that usually the world to receive wants us to make mistakes, and that will keep going either right or to the left in all kinds of methods, all kinds of them. We have to stay on a way that it's on the middle line, that all of humanity, no matter what states they're going through, no matter what methods they are in, religions, faiths, doesn't matter, they will be able along with it to keep going with the wisdom of Kabbalah without any problem and advance in that way. I can't speak about it much, but you'll understand more and more how the wisdom of Kabbalah doesn't belong to any religion and any faith and any nation. Nothing. It's completely a method in its own right. That's why it's open for everybody and can live along with any other thing a person does in this world. Let him do his corporeal business, faith, prayers, anything. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, anything. There is no Problem, please let him do it. We're speaking about the connection with the upper force that the wisdom of Kabbalah is developing in a person. That is equal to everybody. Good morning, friends. Tell me please why, when we read Abash's articles, they're pulling us in. They're close to us. When we read Balasam's articles, they seem as if a person is speaking to you from outer space. Why is there such a difference? You could be right a bit. It's because, in a period, that even though he wanted, but there still wasn't a real ability to, in practice, to turn to the public abroad, public of students as Labash. That's why what he wrote in an upper manner, more scientific, spiritual, and already was in state that the wisdom of Kabbalah was in a descent towards people. It came closer, not a descent. It came closer to humans, to people. That's why he wrote it in that way. There were students in front of him that I brought him from Tel Aviv, meaning guys are free from anything, weren't dependent on anything, on nothing. That's why it was easier for him to speak to them. Turkey 4, good morning, RV. Last week I watched a clip from that archive which your friend Rarduri came to group and made a speech to friends, and I remember he mentioned that Rabash kept Mel closer to himself than me, even though I was with him longer years, but he kept Mel to closed, and even he gave his personal notes about spirituality to him. And my question is, what did Rabash see inside you? Why did he keep you so close to him? Thank you. Look, the moment I found that place where you can study the wisdom of Kabbalah, and I knew a bit of it, whatever I could know before for a beginner, when I learned for I don't know half a year, I decided I'm going to Thish and only studying. That's how I organized my life. I had a big house and I had a penthouse, and I moved to a 3-bedroom, a rented 3-bedroom, and I changed everything. I changed everything, and I don't know exactly. You have to ask what he gave and what he did. I'm discovering till today all kinds of new things that he implanted in me, and then that whole group we had, it keeps going. It's not that it happened then and today it isn't. It keeps going and keeps going in this work. He is the connector between us and Balaam's path to the Creator. So it's all there. It's all there, and each one can come and connect through the entire system, and that's what we're doing towards the Creator and receive guidance from him. Eventually everybody gets guidance from the Creator himself. When I see your devotion, when I read your I don't know journey to Rabash and what you did, your service to him, I feel like I am doing nothing. I'm just in front of the PC and clicking and joining the morning lesson dissemination. But when I look at the effort that you gave, the devotion you give to your teacher, that I'm nothing, and I feel jealousy towards you, and I don't know. I'm happy that that's how you appreciate me, but truly, each one of you is doing great things. And if you take into consideration the state of the generation, so when I was at it was 45 years ago, the difference is clear. It's obvious how the world has changed. So I don't think that every generation and its people, we have to work in this generation. I'm teaching you and you are learning and organizing in tens. That's the main thing, and through the tens, bestowing to humanity. That's the next stage we are going to get to. And for now, let's just adopt what's coming to us from where are we? Exit number 7. Friends, we will now continue to a life lesson with love. And now let's sing through. I go through praise. There is a fall telephone. Hello, today is a special lesson, as today's Memorial Day, and we will read the article The Purpose of Society 1. The first article Abash wrote for you. The Purpose of Society 1. We have gathered here to establish a society for all who wish to follow the path and method of Balasam, the way by which to climb the decrees of man and not remain as a beast. As our sages said about the verse, quote, "And you, my sheep, the sheep of my pasture, are men. You are called men, and idol worshippers are not called men." End quote. These are the words of Hashi to understand man's merit. We shall now bring a verse from our sages about the verse. Quote the end of the matter. All having been heard, fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole man. End quote. And that asks, what is it? What is for this is the whole man? All said the Creator, said the whole world was created only for that This means that the whole world was created for the fear of God. Yet we need to understand what the fear of God is, being the reason for which the world was created. From all the words of our sages, we learned that the reason for creation was to benefit his creations. This means that the Creator wished to delight the creatures, so they would feel happy in the world. And here our sages said about the verse, quote, "For this is the whole man, that the reason for creation was the fear of God." But according to what is explained in the essay, The Giving of the Torah, the reason why the creatures are not receiving delight and pleasure, even though it was the reason for creation, is the disparity of form between the Creator and the creatures. The Creator is the giver and the creatures are the receivers. There is a rule that the branches are similar to the root from which the branches were born, and since there is no reception in our root, since the Creator is in no way deficient and needs nothing to satisfy his wants, man feels unpleasantness when he needs to be a receiver. This is why every person is ashamed to eat the bread of shame. To correct that, the world had to be created. World means concealment, so that delight and pleasure must be concealed. Why is it so? The answer is for fear. In other words, it is so that man would fear using his vessels of perception, called self-love. This means that one should prevent oneself from receiving pleasures because one craves them, and should have the strength to prevail over the craving, the object of one's desire. Instead, one should receive pleasures that bring contentment to the Creator. This means that the creature will want to bestow upon the Creator. It will have fear of the Creator, of receiving for oneself, since the reception of pleasure, when one receives for one's own benefit, removes him from cleaving to the Creator. Therefore, when a person performs one of the commandments of the Creator, he should aim that this commandment will bring him pure thoughts, that he will bestow upon the Creator by keeping the Creator's commandments. It is as our sages said, quote, says, the Creator wanted to cleanse Israel, hence he gave them plentiful Torah and commandments, end quote. And this is why we gather here to establish a society where each of us follows the spirit of bestowing upon the Creator. And to achieve bestow upon the Creator, we must begin with bestow upon man, which is called love of others, and love of others can only be through the revocation of oneself. Us. On the one hand, each person should feel lonely, and on the other hand be proud that the Creator has given us the chance to be in a society where each of us has but a single goal, for divinity to be among us. Although we have not yet achieved this goal, we have the desire to achieve it. This too should be appreciated by us, for even though we are at the beginning of the path, we do hope to achieve the exalted goal. This is basically this short article from Rabash. I see we only have one question. Yes, beloved love. It says here that the world was created for fear to fear the Creator. What is that state where a person has fear of the Creator? What explains we should achieve? It's a state of a person who wants more than anything in the world to reach the state of fear of the Creator, and for that purpose, he is willing to delve into all the details of what's happening with him and in the group, and recognize that all of that was only created for man to discover his relation to the Creator, called fear of the Creator. This is what we have to understand and try to realize that state as well acquire it. Next, what do we have next? I wanted to ask, I'm a student in the point in the heart. I'm entirely the will to receive. I don't know what you're talking about. But I have a question. I live in Panama City and I don't have friends here. How can I connect? Without being close and connected to any friends, there are no people from here. So how to connect? Just as you're speaking to me now, in the same way you can speak to the rest of the people, and it doesn't matter that there's a wire connecting you or some wavelengths. What's important is that you all think and study what the goal needs to be and how we need to be connected in order to reveal the goal. And so, we will thus be awarded with the revelation of the Creator as our common goal, and that's our way. Any person can according to his desire and according to his effort investment. Okay, now we also have Mark 11, writes that we need to be in loneliness. Explain what is that state of loneliness. In the state of loneliness, it's when a person feels that his desires, his longing, are opposite to the desires and longing of the Creator. But how to transcend that, how to come out of that, he still doesn't know, and therefore these are states of loneliness in his eyes. Thank you. The need to bestow upon the Creator. Can a person reach that only to the extent that he feels dependent upon the ten and the society? Yes. When a person reaches a state where he has a desire to bestow to the Creator, then he asks, in what way can I bestow and what do I need to do for that? And until he reaches that need, then he just studies. For now, he's studying, he's learning, he's looking for that end of the rope. Woman must go 8. Okay, next, we have women must go 8. Now, in the lesson, we talked about balance between the vessels of bestow and reception. We have to attain the quality of bestow above the quality of reception that exists within us in the first place. And with that quality, we will then begin to look for how or where in our global covenant there is such a quality of bestowing and not receiving. If we'll begin discovering this quality, excuse me, if we begin to acquire this quality, we will be able to reveal in it the Creator's relation to us. That's what we have to do. Good morning. What is the order of the work? Love of others, faith above reason, love of Creator. What do we need to begin with? We should first reach a desire to connect to the system that connects our world and the Creator, and to devote ourselves to that connection as much as possible. From the connection that we'll gain, we will want to feel who the Creator is. What does he think? What does he feel? What does he do? And from these actions, where we begin to reveal the Creator, we begin to understand how can we draw closer to him. And to draw closer to him means to feel him, not heal. And when we begin to get closer to him, to feel him more, then out of that, we will be awarded with being closer and closer to him and bonded with him. And that's how we'll move forward until we discover the Creator in all his actions. And as a result of that, we'll achieve adhesion with him. Women have one to ask a question. Can barely hear her. Sorry, I wanted to ask. You often speak about the connection that you still maintain with Rush. I wanted to ask, what does this connection look like? How can you extend that kind of connection with the Rav? What is the meaning of it, and how to do it correctly? And the hidden question within the question, is it because he reached his personal end of correction, or can you continue maintaining such a connection with any person? By getting closer to each other and organizing the groups, the tens, and that's the tens between the men tens and the women tens. So in each 10 we will wish to connect to the members of the 10, and then inside each 10 we will reveal some form of the Creator. We will feel something from him, and then between the 10 we can also do that. That's still not the time, but in the future when each and every 10 will already have some contact with the Creator, then we'll also make contact between the 10s, and that already leads us to a different level of knowing the Creator, and this creates a connection with which is above time and space. The way in which you communicate with a bash today, how does it work? Yes, exactly that way, from wanting to be connected together and with the Creator. We'll discover the connection between us. In that connection, we'll already see our connections with the Creator. And then it goes further and further up the ladder of degrees. Women mock for the Creator. What does it mean that we've assembled? What are we to him? How to say that we to him make a particle of the creation he created that wants to be connected, so as to learn what it means to be together, to connect between us, so that this connection between these particles will be similar to the quality of the Creator, the quality of connection, and then in the quality of connection between us will begin revealing him. That's our goal right now. Good morning of bus rights. We have gathered here to lay the foundation for the establishment of a society, and our friend is asking, how do people build a group on the foundation of bestow upon the Creator? What is the foundation of it? What is the lack that it should be founded on? There has to be a deficiency needed to connect between us. That's in every 10, and then each 10 on its part It has to direct all of its passion to the Creator until it feels Him. And that's how we'll advance until we all feel the Creator. And then we also get closer and connect between the tens. And then the Creator will become revealed in a much greater way than how He appears to a single 10. That's it. Women, how is fear of the Creator different to the fear of using the vessel of perception which Abash writes about here? In using our natural kli, our natural desire to receive, we reveal all kinds of desires to receive that we have. If we connect with the others, with other friends, then our desire becomes a desire to bestow, a common desire, a mutual desire with our friends. And then we discover our desire to bestow, which is aimed at the Creator. That's the difference. It's the difference between everyone's individual desire and the group's desire. The group's desire is 1 + 1, 1 + 2, 1 + 3. And the amount doesn't really matter here. What matters is the direction, and in such a case, everyone's desire becomes aimed towards his friends. Speaks about fear specifically. We will acquire fear. Of course, fear means a state where a person really wants something and he hasn't received it yet. It'll come. It'll happen to each one. India. Next. India. Shalom. Shalom. If in the world we feel that we are ascending, and we feel that special preparation for that did something like that before, that truly does happen. That in the process of getting closer to the Creator, we feel a descent in many states. Afterwards, we feel an ascent, then another descent, and that's how we feel, intermittently. One time like this, the other time like that. We'll learn more about it, what to do, in such a way that we could feel very far, or even moving away from the Creator or moving towards the Creator. And what are we supposed to do with that? We'll learn that better soon. Women in Italy, how to feel the connection with the Creator. Do we feel the connection with the Creator through connection with the created beings, or does it need to be some kind of special devotion to feel Him? We will feel connection with the Creator. We'll feel how it begins and gradually opens up more and more within us, and we'll be working on that connection all the time so as to reveal the Creator in a complete manner. We're already at the beginning of that connection. Women Mock 26. In the evening, we read the article and we have a question. Abash writes that the purpose of the society, well, it has only one society for the divinity to dwell amongst us. How can we imagine this, describe it to ourselves? Do we all need to imagine the same thing, or each one individually, differently? Everyone does it individually. But still specifically this connection between us, later becomes the connection with the Creator. How does that relate to the fear of the Creator? Well, call it fear or call it connection. The fear is the quality reveal in the connection. Let's move forward. It would seem in bestow as well, the moment you leave the environment of Kabbalists and so on, you lack many things related to bestow. You start thinking about how to gain luxuries and money, and you get all those thoughts. So the question is how to relate, on the one hand, to, well, financial security for my family, to relate to that through the lens of the spiritual work, and also when you meet someone in your family, thinking about love of others, you want to share with him, tell him how you studied the wisdom of Kabbalah, give him a little bit of, well, you want to help him advance less through the path of suffering, you no more the path of Torah, but sometimes he rejects you completely and he says, no, I don't want anything to do with Kabbalah. Is that a sign from above that I need to leave that person alone, or should I do something nonetheless? I would recommend with your relatives necessarily talk about our study, because then what happens with the friends, not with the relatives, with your friends, is that there's proximity and distance of being in terms of views. They're different in your views, you're equal in your views. That doesn't matter so much in our small society of the 10. When you go into encounters with your relatives, with your family, that's already an issue, because then they compel you to feel the way they feel. You connect to them. You don't disconnect from them. So let's say we don't recommend right now to try and connect that way to your relatives, and to bring them your method. it's not worthwhile. Bit by bit your state will change. The Creator shines on you, and then they will gradually feel from the light. They'll feel some illumination coming to them as well, and then they won't resist as much. But just for now, try to speak to them about Kabbalah the least as possible, specifically because they are your relatives. Been hearing from you the lesson that the more we feel the connection with the Creator, the more we'll want to what is that feeling that the Creator opens up within you more and more. You feel Him closer. What is felt? What opens up in the person? You feel that the Creator governs everything, that I can turn to Him, that He influences me, bestows to me. That's what you feel. Yes. And then the created being is swallowed up inside the Creator, vanishes in Him. No, He doesn't disappear. The created being then has various states and desires that are different from the Creator, different from the friends, and then he can adapt himself in some way. I'm saying the more you feel the Creator's greatness, the more you give Him respect and space. We remove ourselves from there. We diminish ourselves. Not that much that we become. Just submit ourselves. The Creator being feels that he's different from the Creator and different from the friends, and that allows him to also connect to them and adapt himself somewhat each time, more and more. The more the Creator opens up in a person, what is the person's work then? The more a person feels the Creator in his reality, the Creator opens up more in various states. In a state where he's closes in or opens up, a state where he feels far or close, and through the difference between these states, he becomes revealed how to intensify the connection with the Creator, the more it opens up without receiving. This is only through me wanting more than longing more. I long more. I yearn more. I don't pull the Creator or demand Him to come closer. Rather, I long to feel Him as closer. So, it's not that He will come closer to me, rather that I will feel Him, understand Him more than before. And when the Creator and the created being connect more, they feel more like friends. What does the created being have to give to the Creator? The created being does have what to give to the Creator. What? He must go. Good morning. Can we compare incorporating with the Creator to the will to receive bestow? You can say that of course from all these states there are such states where we can define them as closer or similar to the Creator. In this state, when we feel that incorporation, what should we feel then? That we're confident that we connected with Him. You will feel yourselves on the degree of getting closer with the rest of the friends. You'll feel to what extent you understand them, and they understand you, and that's how you advance forward. And bestow, is that closer to incorporation? No, that's not closer to incorporation. It's adhesion. Adhesion and bestow are two different things, and for them. But we'll go through that. For the meantime, I'd rather not get into that. Thank you. And thank you to the Creator for the work that you've done. We now have an opportunity to love. Thanks to you. Few of us in Latin America. I feel happy and blessed to be living in this time, and I think he would be concerned about all the friends advancing at the same pace on the same level. So how to make sure all the friends are advancing together on the same level? Think about it, and pray for it specifically. That is what we can do, and no one else. Women PT 38. Does fear of the Creator go together, or how does it work? We can get confused about it. I think we just need to move ahead. And another question, how does the fear of the Creator help me not receive for my own sake? The fear of the Creator doesn't let you receive for yourself. Right, that's the essence of the fear of the Creator, that I'm afraid of Him. I'm afraid, can I give back to Him? How much did I give? How much more can I give? It's opposite of reception. There is strong fear of losing connection with the Creator after the morning lesson. And the question is, Labash and all Kabbalists, did they went to work, and how can you, during the day, increase your intention by giving to society? Does that count too? We'll reveal that. We'll feel it later on. Can we somehow connect only on the level of thoughts? Does He feel us in thought? Of course, you can connect to Him. Thank you. Thanks to you, we're capable of feeling Rabash as a force and connect to Him. What does a person need to do in order to go further deeper into spirituality? It wasn't clear. What to do in order to go more inward? What in the connection? What we need to do in order to enter inward into the connections between us. That's why we need to just keep going. More and more and more and again and again. You'll see that there is where everything is revealed. A woman's being one. In the article, it says about that one needs to annul himself in order to bestow upon others and love the Creator. How do you discern between true spiritual annulment and simply losing one's identity that can be destructive for society? You'll see that gradually. But the difference is, the main thing is not to go out and to just be stubborn on that question and be persistent. Why does fear precede love and the spiritual process? Because that's how we need first to attain fear, and then in fear, we attain love. Without spiritual fear you can't reach love. Women Argentina 1. Women Argentina 1. Why open the heart towards the Creator? Create such great or fear today. I felt it while we were praying in the tent. What was the question again? Why does opening the heart towards the Creator cause so much? Because it's such a big vessel. Constantly feel how it opens up more and more. What can one do in order to achieve a greater connection so that we'll be able to really open up inside this great big vessel? We simply need again and again to keep working towards the same goal, to keep increasing it and working on it. Okay. Women Latin 26. Like today, how do we strengthen our connection with the Creator? What can you recommend us to do? What I recommend, what we're studying now, try and reach a deficiency that you have to open before the Creator. And as much as possible, as much as you can more, spar. Will we be able to feel the Creator at some point in the same way that we raise our prayer? Meaning, will we feel the Creator through the friend or directly? He's repeating the question. No, I feel the Creator directly, even when it comes through the friend. Okay. Women Turkey 7. Women Turkey 7. When we say that the Creator created us the way we are, it's like we're taking off any responsibility from ourselves, from our evil inclination. So if a person doesn't feel responsible for his evil inclination, how can he feel loneliness or lonely? It's because we attain the Creator in our common vessel, that we all connect with one another, and that is what we present to the Creator, and we want Him to be revealed between us in such a way. That's how we will advance. Okay, and I have PT 19. I'm sure I couldn't understand what he's saying. Did you understand him? About the bread of shame. Speaking of the article that we just read by Rabash, the purpose of society, that each person is afraid of eating bread of shame. So what is that? How can you do that in the 10? On the way, when you come closer on the first steps, you already start feeling shame, that you must feel like you have to activate your will to receive. He writes that love others can come through self-annulment, and that a person both has to feel lowly and also proud. How do you work with both? Writes that love others can come through self-annulment, that each needs to feel lowly and on the other hand to feel proud that the Creator gave him an opportunity. How do you work in both together, loneliness and pride? Whoever reaches it starts understanding that there is one result here through the connection between the friends, and that's how you advance. How do you do it in the 10? That on the one hand you feel lonely, you're in annulment, and on the other hand feel pride and work. On the one hand that you feel lonely, on the other hand that you feel pride, that you to be careful of not falling into pride. On the other hand, we'll feel that it's possible for now. We think that we don't feel that there's an order in these things between us and the Creator and us in society. But soon, really, well, today we won't get there yet, but maybe tomorrow we'll get to it. I don't see who else wanted to ask. So, we reached the end of the lesson. So how do we sum this very special day up? Also during the day, we'll have the yogurt meal at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm happy that today we're also going to have. Okay, so we finished with the purpose of society 1, right? Tomorrow we're going to learn number 2. Yeah, tomorrow we'll continue. But I wanted to ask, yesterday we heard a recommendation from you to start hearing amongst us recorded lessons. that Rabash gave tests, recorded tests, lessons that Rob gave, and we're getting organized towards that. Could you more focus us on how should we listen to Rabash? Simply, we'll start from test tomorrow, organize it all, and I'll be happy to come. Thank you very much. And moving on to the next part of the lesson, and before that let's sum up this lesson amongst us. Let's summarize the lesson. So we heard that the more we come closer to one another, then we will be able to feel the Creator clothing between us, and also about the connection between the tens that will also open up before us. Another thing I wrote, we will feel the Creator directly even though it comes through the friend. Also they were asking about the loneliness that he said that that's when a person feels that his desires are completely against the desire of the Creator, and that's called loneliness. Also feeling great joy that soon we're going to start listening to Rusher's test lessons. That's a very pleasant surprise, and there were many questions about. Today spoke about it, that is a state that we all reach where we all achieve something that we don't have. In the recorded part of the lesson we also heard that there is such a degree called Evid Hashem, servant of the Creator, and emissary of the Creator. There are different such degrees, both parts connected together. Said that spiritual advancement is as much as he helps, then advance and leaves himself below. And he said that depends on the person's delicacy of the soul, that when a person connects to the Creator and to the ten, and through them to the Creator, and also about taking care of humanity, that only after we connect between us in the tens, and then we start taking care of all of humanity, and that the created being feels that he's different from the Creator, that helps him change himself a bit, and then from the changing of the states, the Creator can be revealed. First of all, impress strong from the questions that friends from World Clear are asking. There's like felt, and it's a result of what gave us in his social articles that he defined the rules of society, how it needs to work, and so this the result of the wisdom of Kabbalah spreading in the world. And also I think it was a friend from Panama who asked, he said next to him there are no physical friends. Will he be able to reach spirituality? Sab said doesn't matter whether the connection is virtual or physical. Everyone's promised to reach spirituality. Yeah, there was a lot about the connection between a person and the Creator. So a few things said, I don't demand him to be closer, but I try to feel him and understand him closer more than usual. What can a person give the Creator? The created being makes a desire in him, just like in the Creator. So you have to think what that even means. But I think it's really nice how to see that all the friends are on the same level. Think about it, pray about it. That's what we can do, and no one else can. So that's actually for the work. Try and reach a deficiency that you need to open for the Creator, and as much as possible. And in the first part, he said what's special about method is faith above reason. He talked about reason and above reason, where the greatness of a person is measured there, and faith above reason is entering the ascent. Exactly that this the essence of the method we've received from Rabash above reason, and it takes a person a lot of time to grasp, internalize it. And so we need to continue, and the main thing is not to let go. And I think Rob spoke about it on the first lesson, that maybe there won't be so many people like us that are working on the internality, and it is upon us to develop the method and pass it on to humanity, and maybe after that it'll be easier for humanity. The method will be more accessible, and also in the first article we saw that we need to be on the one hand null toward the friends, and on the other hand to feel proud for the opportunity that we've received to be among people that all time think how to reach the Creator. So let's be adhere to Rush as much as we can today. And also it's beautiful explained how within a period of 8 years he was able to write so much, and that he was actually the one who opened up this and to write for future generations. Continuing, that there was a question just received from and pass it to us, and said obviously added a lot of himself, that he attained it more individually, because before that there were many students. Yes, students. Also about that excerpt, that he looks at humanity and wants to help them, and except for prayer there's nothing to. If says that it shows the way the Kabbist observes it, how he looks at humanity. said that his role is to bring us to be teachers of humanity, and not to deviate to the right or left, and to keep the wisdom of Kabbalah as something separate from any other method or denomination. Thank you, friends. Let's go to read we're reading Soar for All, the sixth commandment. Item 219 again. Soar for all, of the sixth commandment. Item 219. The sixth commandment is to engage in multiplication. Anyone who engages in multiplication causes that river to always be springing. Its waters do not cease, and the sea is filled on all sides. And new souls are renewed and come out of that tree. And many hosts multiply above with those souls to keep them. As it is written, let the waters swarm with the swarms of living creatures. This is the token of the Holy Covenant, the river that stretches and comes out of Eden, whose waters swell and swarms and multiplication of souls for that animal. This is so because by the awakening below he awakens above and causes the coupling of the Creator and his. Then the river in will always spring with mud, and its waters will never cease from bestowing upon the Nukvar, and the sea Nukvar of Santin will be filled on all sides, from the side of the coupling to receive the world, and from the side of beating souls. And new souls are renewed and come out of that tree. That is, not actually new souls, but old souls that have already been fell from him due to the sin of the tree of knowledge. They are renewed by that tree they are called new souls, since actual new souls come to the world only after the end of the correction of the sin of the tree of knowledge. And many hosts are emanated above with those souls, since with each soul several angels emerge, also in couplings to revive the worlds. Angels come out as well. It is written, let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures. This is the token of the Holy Covenant, the river that stretches and comes out of Eden, since then swarming with living creatures implies the Sarantin, who is called the token of the covenant. This is a river that stretches and comes out from Sarantin, clothing above Eden, to water the garden his, whose waters swell and swarm with swarms, meaning with the couplings of which are called swarms. This is the meaning of swarm with swarms. With respect to the coupling of Galfor, beating souls, it was said, and multiplication of souls for that animal, and she is the one who is called living creature. 220. Several birds, angels came out with those souls that enter that animal. They fly and roam throughout the world, and when a soul comes out of this world, the bird that flew comes out with her, and comes out with a soul from that tree. How many angels come out with each soul? 2. One on the right, and one on the left. If he is rewarded, they guard him as it is written, for he will give his angels charge over you to keep you, and if not, they slander him. Said, 3 angels protect a person when he is rewarded, as it is written, if there is an angel as an advocate for him, 1 out of 1,000 to speak of a person's uprightness. If there's an angel is 1, an advocate is 2, 1 out of 1,000 to speak of a person's uprightness in 3. 221 Isham said, they are 5 angels, for it is also written, and let him pardon him, and say, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom, and let him pardon him is 1, and say, is to this 5. He replied to him, this is not so, rather, and let him pardon him is the Creator alone, and not an angel, for no other has permission to pardon him except him. Along with the souls, several angels are burned and emerged. They are called birds, and they assist the souls to sentence the side of merit. For the contrary, they slander them and push them forward. The side of fault, they fly and roam throughout the world, and see the Creator's guidance on the people of the world. Are they governed by him, and they notify the soul? If the soul is rewarded, it sentences itself and the whole world to the side of merit. Is not rewarded, she shifts, sentences, and the entire world to the side of fault. This is why he asks how many angels come out with each soul, does not dispute, saying that only 2 birds are born with a soul. Instead, he says that as long as he had only those 2 birds, he cannot sentence himself to the side of merit completely, but it is thrown from judgment to mercy, and from mercy to judgment. However, through good deeds, a third angel is born to him, and then he is rewarded with sentencing to the side of merit. This is why he said that 3 angels protect a person when he is rewarded, since he cannot be rewarded if not by 3 angels. 22. One who refrains from multiplication diminishes the form that includes all the forms, the human form, and causes the arresting of the water of that river, blemishing the holy covenant on all the sides. It is written about him, then they will go forth and look on the corpses of the men who have transgressed against me, indeed me, and this concerns the body. But a soul does not enter the screen at all, the domain of the Creator, and he is expelled from the world. Malchut is called a form. It contains all the forms, because all the forms of the righteous, and that angels of the 3 worlds beyond are drawn by her. Those are her troops and armies. Hence, one who does not engage in multiplication diminishes the image of Malchut and detains her from bringing out all her troops and armies. Since the awakening from below awakes a corresponding awakening from above, causing a coupling of the Creator and his to be and angels, and one who refrains from multiplication causes the water of that river to not be drawn out. It causes, do not give mud to the holy, blemishing the holy covenant in all the phases in it, as it detains the 2 forms of coupling from the side of and from the sight of Gar. It is written about it, then they will go forth and look on the corpses of the men who have transgressed against me. Since the commandment of multiplication permanently enhances his soul, also by that he defeats his body forever, so it will be at the revival of the dead, and one who does not engage in multiplication makes his body like a corpse. Let's go to a clip. We need to be in our intention, to believe, to understand, to even feel that according to our intention, we are receiving the force that reforms us. So what does that mean? We need to aim ourselves as much as possible to the purpose of creation, and the force that will come will give us a push towards that direction. But the direction we need through the 10 as much as we can to aim ourselves to the centre of the 10, then in according to that the light will bestow and bring us there. Well, let's hope that this force will push us ahead, and that it will work on us now, according to our intention. So we are continuing to the next article, the 7th commandment. Continuing item 223. The 7th commandment is to circumcise after 8 days and remove the filth of the foreskin. It is so because that animal is the 8th among all the degrees, when beginning from, and that which flies away from her must be seen before her for 8 days, as she is the 8th degree of, is called an animal only through her ascent, and clothing of was the 8th degree of transfer from below upward, is also called a, because she rose by 8 degrees from her tub, and only then she is called animal like man's soul born out of, who is called animal, and a must be seen before the, with corrections of circumcision and exposing on the 8th day after her birth. Then it is apparent and evident that she is a soul from that holy animal, and not from another side, because then by the power of the circumcision and exposing, there is completely repelled from man's soul, and she can receive all the lights of that animal. This is the meaning of let the waters swarm, and thus she receives the upper mud from sun, and is completed with these waters.